Hi, my name is Leandro Facchinetti, and let's write some code together, shall we? What we have on the menu today is caxa, this Node.js package of mine that allows you to compile your application. It may be a command line application or a web server into an executable binary that you can ship to your users, maybe deploy to a server, that sort of thing. And we are working towards version 2.1. So we are adding new features, we are fixing bugs and that sort of thing. And I'm going to continue working on that. And there is a chance that we will finish version 2.1 today, but we'll see. So what we are going to work on specifically right now is this. There is a pull request for this new feature that a person wants on version 2.1, which is to add an initial message when you first start running the application. So you package your application using caxa, and the first time you're going to run the application, there is this initial message that tells the user to wait a little bit, because the first time that you actually run an application packaged with caxa, it will decompress the application, it will uncompress the application. I don't know which verb to use. So it will uncompress the application into a temporary directory, which is sometimes slow, especially on Windows, dealing with lots of small files, like the kinds of files you would find in a Node.js project. That can be somewhat slow, so it would be nice to give a message saying the person should wait. And we don't want this message to be the default though, because maybe you're a command line application, maybe you are packaging a command line application and you don't want to print that message every time. So we are going to introduce an option, and by default it will not print any messages, but there will be this option to print the message. And a person, by the way, thank you, Roger, for sending the pull request. So what we're gonna do is just look at Roger's code and modify it here and there and make it work for our case. So I guess that the simplest way to do this may be to just literally merge this, or at least take a look at this commit in Visual Studio Code, because there are two files that have changed and they have changed in several places. So I guess what I'm gonna do is I'm going to fetch this into my own machine. So I will git remote add and then I can fetch this, and I believe that the person was working on this branch. Yes, progress indicator. So we could maybe check out progress indicator. And how about we rebase progress indicator on top of our current master? So we can say git rebase master. Okay, so there is a merge conflict, and that's kind of expected because we have introduced options, at least one option, and this person also introduced some other options. So a merge conflict or a rebase conflict is kind of expected. So here, what do we want to do? I guess I'm going to accept both, so the code reads like this. But I don't really like the way that the person did this. I think it would be nicer to do it like this. I don't know why the person would merge this, would extract this variable to use it right away on the next line. Okay, so now it reads like this, and something in here changed? No, I guess that's just my changes that are showing up here. So with that, I think we have resolved all the conflicts. I don't see any other conflicts. So I can add this, and Okay. So it was complaining that I couldn't change the message, so I'm not going to change the message. This is getting complicated. We may want to revert, abort this, and do the changes manually. Or I could just set an editor. But you know what? I think I'm going to abort this rebase. Let's look at the Git graph to make sure that I didn't mess anything up. And it appears that everything is fine. So there is this. And this change is relatively small. So come on, it's like 10 places that I will have to copy and paste stuff. So I guess that's what I'm gonna do. I know it's not ideal, but the merge was not going through. I don't know why. Maybe there is some message that I can... Oh, I could have used this, I guess. Okay, so I'm going to give this a second try, and if it doesn't work, then I will copy and paste stuff. And then I add, and I run this. Okay. Okay, now it seems like this worked. Let us see the Git graph to understand the situation over here. So there is this add optional message commit by that person, so that's fine. And let us now read this commit and see what we want to change. I guess I will start with the TypeScript part because I know it better. So there will be this next parameter here, initial message, and I don't want that parameter to be the last one. Where does it go? Or maybe I do want it to be the last one, because I always think of these parameters like in the order that they will be used, but it does make sense to say that the initial message is something that happens even after the build. So it is kind of okay to have it as the last parameter, I suppose. Okay. Then over here it's a string and it's optional. And then here, oh, okay. So we are adding something to this point, but that's a mistake. That is a mistake of my part when merging. This append file should not appear on the append tarball of build blah blah blah, because this function is also used by the new stub we introduced yesterday, which is the shell stub. But the shell stub doesn't need a footer with some JSON in there. So I suppose what I have to do is remove these lines. So we are talking about line 191. So this should not be part of this function. It should be part of this, which is, I guess, replacing this. So all of this stays the same, except that now there will also be an initial message at the end. Yeah, so I append the tarball, and then I just add the initial message to the footer or the trailer, which is the extra information that the stub will need to work. And then -m, is that available? We have introduced new command line parameters, so is -m available? It seems like it is. And initial message, that seems good. I'm gonna say that this is advanced, yeah. Okay, so allows an optional message to be displayed on initial run. Okay. It's not really an initial message, it's a decompression message, because I'm not going to print this if I am using the so-called cache. So I guess I'm going to, how do I call this? Do I call this like uncompress? I guess in the readme I use this verb. Yep. So the initial message will be renamed to uncompression message, which is not really a word, it seems, but I looked it up and it seems like that's the word that people use when talking about, well, the act of uncompressing a tarball. So there you go, uncompression message, and then this is -m or uncompression message. Allows blah blah blah. No, we're gonna say that a message to show when uncompressing, which may take some time to finish. A message to show when uncompressing, which may take some time to finish. Okay. Then let us continue reading this. So yeah, over here there was the initial message thing, and then this has been renamed, but other than that it seems completely reasonable. So these changes I like, and I guess I'm going to commit the changes that I have over here. I have renamed initial to uncompression message, and I put the thing in the right place and removed it from the wrong place. I changed the documentation just a bit, and that is all. So I can commit this. Now let's look at the go part, and we also have to look at the stub, the shell stub. So how about we start with the shell stub? So if we are doing the uncompression over here, you can, well, we have to check if the person provided a message, because by default the message has not been provided. So by default, where is the uncompression message? Yes. So by default it will be undefined. So we have to check for its existence. So we are going to write this as, if the uncompression message is undefined, then don't print anything. Otherwise, echo the uncompression message. And I know by having read this pull request in the past that over here in the go part of this stub, so the go stub, there will be something that will print dots. Where is it? Maybe over here? Yeah, it will print dots to be like a progress bar of sorts. So I'm going to do a search for bash progress bar and see if I can do a progress bar in bash as well. Yeah, the problem with the progress bar is that it needs to happen in parallel. So we need to be running the extraction while we are doing the progress bar. So here I can do something like this, but oh, maybe tar has a progress bar. Let's look at the docs for tar. No. Yeah, it seems like it's possible, but it's kind of a hack. So how about we don't do that? Yeah, you even have to install this too, and we cannot depend on that being available on the user's machine. So that's a no-go. Yeah. And how about, is that even something that comes with most operating systems? Because I have not installed PV. Yeah, that doesn't even come with macOS. So that's definitely not something we are gonna do. But what's something else we can do? Yeah, the problem with all these approaches is that we would have to implement some notion of the work being done, which it boils down to watching the tar process to make sure that it is over. And yeah, that doesn't sound like fun. Hmm. And this one is also, yeah, I sleep. So I would need some way to interject in the process of the tar from time to time to print another one of the dots. And I would need to check that the tar is over, and that doesn't sound like fun. So on the command line, if you use the shell, you will see the message, but you will not see you will see the message, but you will not see the progress bar, which is fine. Also, I think it would be nice for this to print to the standard error as opposed to the standard output, just because if you are seeing this message and you are maybe piping into something else, you may not want to have this in the output. So how do I echo to stder? Suppose I just hit redirect. Yeah, suppose I just do something like this. How do I even check this? I guess I can do something like echo hello, and I output the standard output to hello text. Or maybe I do that in a shell script. I think that would be more faithful. So let's try that. Let me remove the hello text, and we will create a remove sh, which is a shell script. And then we add an executable flag to the shell script, and we run that, and we output its std out to a file, and its std is that how you do it? To another file. So I expect this to be the std out and the weird sequence of characters we just copied. to put that at std How do I bash redirect std Yeah, like that. So now std has std and std out has std out. So that incantation does seem to work. Okay, so that was a simple change, and I also think that it is going to work. Let's test this out. We have on the help a command that I can copy and paste. But how about we also provide a message that reads like uncompressing. Please wait. Yep, okay, that works. And now we can... Oh, I did not create the correct output, did I? Oh, yeah, I created. I copy and pasted from above. So yes, that is correct. So I can run this, and it will say uncompressing, please wait. And then it will not say that again because it will use the cache. Okay. Also, I kind of want to see if this is going to the standard error. So I guess what I need to do is to go to this folder, and no, I don't trust the authors. I will remove the cache directory, and this will force a new uncompression, and I will redirect the standard output to this file, and I can see the message here, and of course I will not be able to see the message there. So that all sounds good. It's going to the std Now maybe we should change this message just a tiny bit here, the documentation for this. A message to show when uncompressing. You may want to warn your users that this may take some time to finish. You may want to warn your users that this may take some time to finish. Okay. That was easy to implement. Now let's go to the more difficult, at least for me, the more difficult part, because I am not knowledgeable in Go. But we'll make our best of it. I mean, mostly, hopefully, we will be able to just take this as it is. I suppose that our lovely contributor, Roger, has done a nice work here. So I know something that I want to change already, which is just the name of this, because it's not the initial message, it is the decompression message. So now I have to be careful about capitalization. So I guess I will copy this and paste it here, but I will turn on capitalization, and I will rename this from initial to uncompression or uncompressing. How are we calling this? I forget. Uncompression. So it will be the uncompression message. Oh, I lost the search. Lovely. So capitalized, it looks like this, and I rename, and then not capitalized, it looks like this, and I rename. And I have to format it, but I already did. Okay. So now let me see my changes to see if they make sense. It should be just renaming some stuff. Okay, and then with that in mind, we can commit this because it was just renaming something, and we can read over the diff written by Roger. So let's learn about this context package because I don't know what that's about. So go context. It carries deadlines, cancellation signals, and other requests scoped values across API boundaries and between processes. I guess that makes sense because we need two processes, one which is doing the uncompression and another which is doing the progress bar. So that's probably why the person needed this module. And it comes with goals. So that's a requirement of this stub as of now. We are only using goals standard libraries because they are super powerful and because it simplifies the build process and the Go compiler setup mechanism. You just have to install the Go compiler. I did that in a previous stream, and it's so easy to just install a Go compiler, cross-compilation just works, everything is just fine. So now, we are doing this, we are creating a context, we are putting this in the background, and we are creating this with a cancel thing. Probably that's because we are going to be printing dots to the output, and we want to be able to stop that process somehow. So let's go over the docs here and see some example of these in use. Yeah, the variable is usually called ctx, so that's what it's called here. And maybe there is some example that contains cancel. No. But that's fine. Oh, so this is going to be an empty string. Okay, that is interesting because I'm not sure what's going to happen in the TypeScript part if you don't define the uncompression message. Is it going to be an empty string or is it going to be null? I think it will be null. So how about we create something with caxa and look at the footer real quick to see what the JSON looks like. So we npx ts node source, and we'll give it a message that says hello. And now we can look at the binary that will be generated using the text editor to see what the JSON looks like. Oh, but I provided an uncompression message. That's not the test that I wanted to run. I wanted to run a test. If the uncompression message is there, it's going to be a string, and that's fine. But if I don't provide one, I think it will be null over here, or maybe even not present at all. But I think it will be null. So how about we delete this file and start our test again. Okay. Oh, it's not even there. Identifier, command, and the thing is not even there in the JSON. So we did not even include a field called uncompression message. Let's try this out in the console real quick. If I stringify an object that has a field A and a field B, which is undefined, doesn't even show up in the output. And if it's null, then it shows up as null. So this JSON may not even have that field. And I have no idea how the Go unmarshal thing will behave If you say that it is a string but it's not even there, will it put an empty string there? Will it put some kind of new there? Will it just fail to parse? I don't know. We'll have to test this. And all our tests are going to fail real quick if the stub fails to work because of this. So that's fine. We don't have to worry too much about it. I mean, this will already throw an error if it cannot parse the JSON. So that's fine. So moving on. Here we are starting this context. And we are using this progress indicator. And we are passing it the context and the initial message. Okay. And then when we are done, we cancel the context. So there are a few things that I want to do about this. This progress indicator, not sure I want to have it like this. I will probably call this like the progress bar. Whatever. But more importantly, is there a reason why we have to extract this into a function? Or can we have a function that is inline here? I don't know. How about I commit this change, because this is pretty safe. I just renamed a function. And then we try to run this. By the way, the first thing that we are doing is we are printing this message. Let's see how we are doing that in the shell stub, because I want the two to match as much as possible. So yeah, we are doing that as the first thing. We don't even acquire the lock. Yeah, so this is us acquiring the lock. So this is going to be the first thing. I agree. That makes sense. And then in this case, because we have the progress bar, we have to cancel it. But I think we should cancel this after we are completely done. So we are going to do it in this order. And then, yeah, I suppose I like these changes. They are just reordering some things that don't really matter. And then there is a new line here. Why is that? Yeah, I don't need that new line. Let me commit this new line. I'm so careful because I don't know Go that much. So now each line that I change, I commit. And then there is the progress indicator, which I am going to try to inline. And I will also try to make sense of it. So it starts by printing the initial message, and I would like that to print to the standard instead of the standard out. So here over progress bar, this is print line, so go print to std . We have the format. We are using the format package. Maybe we can use the format package. There you go. So I guess I can just pass this as the first argument. Like that. It's complaining. Print line does not take IO writer, but has arg std . So that doesn't seem to work. But what if I try f print line? That seems to work. One thing that I probably should have done to begin with was to just test if this was working in the first place before I started changing things. Yeah, but let's take a moment to understand what's going on here, and then I will try to run this, because essentially I didn't change much. Yeah, I didn't change much about this. Maybe I changed something here in the TypeScript that could have changed the initial message to be undefined, but no. Yeah, the person wrote it like this, so I did not accidentally introduce an undefined. So I suppose that the person has tested this without an initial message, just to make sure that it was still working, but we'll see. And I don't think I have introduced any bug, but let's understand what this function is doing. So we are printing the initial message, and then we are not using that variable again. Okay, and then we are creating a ticker that will wait for 5 seconds, and then we wait for this to be over. So we wait 5 seconds, and then we and we don't even return the ticker. We just keep printing dots. Okay, let me see something. Was this still a print line? Because this way the dots are going to be on the next line, and maybe I introduced a new line unknowingly. But no, this has always been print line. But I don't think I want a new line there. Probably want it like this. And then when it's over, well, first of all, I probably want to do all of these to the standard error. And then probably here I could print a new line like this. So now this will be in one line. Yeah, I think it makes sense to have this in one line. And I don't fully understand how the ticker works. But apparently time was already something that we were using. Oh yeah, so tar is using time for whatever reason. Oh, because it was telling me how much time has elapsed during the untar. Well, I commented out that part of the code. I copy and pasted, so that's fine. But we are already using time because of that, and then there is this sticker stuff that I don't know about, but that's okay. And this select stuff is all very mysterious to me as well. Let's commit what we have. How about we also print just a space before the progress bar? I wonder if I should just have the new line there. Yeah, I think I will take the new line here, and then I will print a bunch of dots, and when I'm done, I need to print a new line as well. I guess that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, so I like these changes. They are changing the thing to print to the standard to the standard error. And now let us try to run this step. So input, I guess I can just copy and paste this part, and then copy and paste this part, which will not include a message, but it should not blow up either. And it doesn't blow up. That's awesome. And now let's try this with a message. You're calling this the uncompression message. Hello. Oh, exclamation mark. Not a good idea. Yeah, it didn't print anything. Let me check that this has a footer that contains the uncompression message. It does contain the uncompression message. So now we need to start debugging the stub, I suppose. What could be wrong here? Maybe it did not uncompress for whatever reason. I think it should uncompress on the first run, but I removed the cache, so now I forced the thing to uncompress and it's not printing anything. So how about we change this folder? We don't have any pending changes, right? Okay, so how about we change this to format formats according to a specifier and returns the string as a value that satisfies error. No, that's not what we want. Okay, I thought that maybe there was a better way for me to print to the standard output. But let's just use print line and then footer uncompression message. Begin and end. I'm very much a beginner in Go, so that's what we have. Oh, I think I know the issue. I don't even have to do this. The issue is that I forgot to recompile the stub. Of course. So now I need to run build stubs because I changed the Go stub. So I need to recompile the Go stub before I can test the Go stub, of course. Okay, that was kind of too fast, but I'll take it. So let's start with no message to learn what the unmarshal function will do. Okay, nothing blew up. Now let us try with the uncompression message. And let's run this. It says hello. It didn't really have the time to print anything, but it seems like everything just worked. It seems like Go will look at the JSON, will see that there is no string with that name. There is no what is it called? No uncompression message. So it puts an empty string there, and then when I try to use the uncompression message, I just check if it's not empty, and then I do all these shenanigans. So that is all fine. Let me also check that the thing is printing to the standard error. So to do that, I need to remove my cache. And I run this again, but I output to stdout, and I still see hello on the command line, but I don't see it on stdout.txt. So that's awesome. So now we can try to inline that progress bar function, because I suppose that functions can be anonymous in Go. Let's do this step by step. So this line that is printing the uncompression message, we can move up. So it reads like this. There you go. So there is that. And then this Go progress bar with the context, I suppose, can be an anonymous function. So let me go to the definition of progress bar and copy this over there. And I don't need a name and I don't need the context, because the context is, guess what? In context. And where do I even use the context? Right here. Okay. Oh, so I guess I sort of understand what's going on. There is this ticker, which is like in JavaScript a set interval. And there is this context, which is something that I can, it's like a pipe. I can send a message to it, I suppose. I'm trying to explain stuff that I don't really understand, but I think that what's going on here is that this context is something that it's like a pipe that I can send a message to. And then I select, and I'm listening to all these different things, and whatever happens first, that's what I react to. So this is like set, this is like add event listener. So I'm listening to all these events, and then I check, did I receive something from the ticker? So did I receive a go to go run one more time? If so, I do this. Otherwise, the context will say, okay, you are done. You should stop doing this. So, and that's probably what happens when you run this, the cancel context. And then this line will run. But there is still an error here. Function must be invoked in a Go statement. But it is. Oh, I guess I need to call the function like that. It's like an immediately invoked function expression in JavaScript. So that's fine. And then it's funny that the cancel context is created here, but somehow it's still available for us to use over there, which I find fascinating. So the scoping rules of Go are weird, and I kind of like the way they work. They kind of play out for us, at least this time, and it's similar to what we are doing over here, where in the shell script, where we define the application directory in the loop, but that is available for us to use outside the loop as well, because there is a single namespace for variables. They're not lexically scoped in bash scripts, but here it seems like Go is not lexically scoping this either, which I am completely for. I really like the way that this works. So let's see the changes that we have. And essentially what we did was to inline the function. I guess I guess this could happen over here. So now it's really clear that I'm setting everything up and then I'm just going in a loop. I wonder if this can be written this way, and if it's better to write it this way. No, I think I prefer it like this. Yeah, it's like print the thing and then start this function that has the responsibility of looping around and printing stuff. So that is my change. I'm going to commit this, and then we'll test this and we'll see how it goes. Let's build our stubs. And this process is being suspiciously fast, but it worked in the previous run, so there is some sort of cache going on or whatever. I don't know. Okay, so with the uncompression message, and unfortunately, this project is so small and the uncompression is so fast that we don't actually see the progress bar. Okay. Now let me test another one in which I don't have an uncompression message. And I guess that's going to work. Yes, because it worked before. So that is all good. Now let me think. What do I need to do next? I think it would be nice for me to actually see the dots somehow. What does the ticker stop do? Let me go to the docs for go time. Ticker stop. Stop turns off a ticker. After stop, no more ticks will be sent. Stop does not close the channel to prevent a recurrent go routine. Okay, so this is just saying after the end of running this function, which I guess it's after this line, then you stop the ticker so it doesn't trigger more of these ticking events. That is a convoluted way of writing a set timeout or a set interval, but that's a different paradigm, so I guess it makes sense. It's just that I'm not used to it. So it's telling the ticker to stop after the end of this function, and you know what? I think it would be kind of nice for me to actually see a dot right when I start. Can I like trigger the ticker? Because I think it would be nice to see a dot and then see more dots coming up. So let's see the things that I can do with the ticker. New ticker, reset, and stop. No. But what I can do is just print a dot. Like this. What else? I'm going to commit this. I kind of know what it's going to do, so I'm not going to lose time testing this. And then let us write a test for this. Let me go to my tests, and I guess it's the last one. Also, this is out of order, isn't it? Yeah, remove build directory is, so the stub test should come before remove build directory and before identifier. Let's see these two side by side real quick. Well, input, output, and command are things that you must pass, but we have tests for force, and then it should be it is the first test for this new command line flags things. So we have force, and then exclude, and then dedupe, and then prepare command, and then we don't have prepare as a command line flag. And then we have include node, and then stub, and then identifier, and then remove build directory, and then we need to write a test for uncompression message. I'm going to copy this over, and I'm going to call this test dash dash uncompression message, and I call this with uncompression message. This may take a while to run the first time. Please wait. Yeah, I don't want that new line because I want... Felipe says on the chat, hi, I'm late but glad to join. Hi Felipe, it's awesome to have you here. So just to recap, what we are doing is we are adding an initial message when you are uncompressing the project using caxa, and you already know all the context, but that's what we are doing. We are now writing the test, and then we will be able to release this. We are very near the finish line, but I don't think we'll finish today. Let me go over these lines again, because I don't want to print a new line right here. And I don't want to print this line either. I suppose that your message will end with dot, dot, dot. And then I will print more of these dots. I'm rereading this to see if it makes sense. So if I have an uncompression message, I will print the uncompression message, and then I will keep printing dots, and then I will print a new line when I'm done. Okay, sounds good. I guess I will put an example of these messages. A message to show when uncompressing, for example. And then I don't need to say that because the example will say that for me. So this may take a while to run for the first time. Please wait, dot, dot, dot. So now I'm suggesting the person to put dot, 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 and then the dots that I'm going to print as the progress bar will make sense in this context. Okay. So I have a bunch of changes. Well, let me finish writing this. So let's see. I am adding an uncompression message. And then this is a lot of shenanigans that are for testing something else, probably for testing the thing that I copy and pasted, the remove build directory, but I don't want that. I just want a simple test that will just simply run the program. So I guess I can pass all these lines. Right here. And what is this about? I don't even know. Did this make sense in the context of this test? Oh, it was a prepare command. Okay. Okay. So that's fine. Let's see. The compilation line looks like input, output, uncompression message, and then we will run node with index and pass some parameters. That's fine. So now we run this and we expect the thing to match an inline snapshot. The problem is the dots in the progress bar. We cannot really say that, so we cannot really match an inline snapshot, otherwise our test would be dependent on how fast you can uncompress on your machine. So how about we just look for this to match that. Let's run this as our only test, so it is faster to run this. And if this passes, then we will wrap it up for today. And tomorrow we are going to finish this, write some docs, and publish, and we'll be done. So hopefully tomorrow will be a short stream in which everything goes according to the plan. We'll see. Okay, the test is passing. So I guess that is all fine. Here is just some changes to the docs, and here I changed how things are printed, but that's fine. Let me remove this file, and then You know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to remove all the stubs and recompile, because I think that this is the version we are going to ship. So, Felipe, I don't think that you have watched the streams the previous days, so I'm going to recap what we worked on. I was getting a lot of issues because of the way that we were in version 2.0. We were compiling and distributing the stubs, so I essentially reverted some of the changes from 2.0 so that now the project is back to putting the stubs in the Git directory, the Git repository, shipping along with npm in its 20 megabytes that people will just have to live with. But the whole strategy of having Docker and whatnot, it was just too complicated. We got rid of that. We are using the cross compilation in Go instead, and we are distributing everything using npm, which is a lot simpler and also avoids many of the issues. Like the download library we used had a vulnerability, and people in China were not able to access GitHub releases to fetch the stubs, so we got rid of that, and now we are just shipping along with npm because there is an npm mirror in China, and everything is just a lot simpler. We went from like almost 200 lines of configuration for GitHub Actions to, I guess, 20 or 30, something like that. Okay, so we have all the stubs here, and I'm going to commit them, and this is the commit that no one wanted to happen, but it just happened. So now we are going to check out master, and we are going to merge, well, what is the name of the branch? We are going to merge these, and we are going to push origin master. And yeah, it's going to take a few seconds, but it's over, so that's fine. And then over here in the actions have been failing recently because I did not commit the stubs. I don't want to commit the stubs too often, but now I think that the stubs are ready to go. We have the tests and everything, so now I committed the stubs, and I expect that this will pass. Tomorrow at 5:30 UTC, as always, we are going to see if this has passed, and if it did, then we will maybe write some changes to the README, and I am going to publish 2.1, and that will be the end of that. We'll be able to close a lot of issues. We'll see. I'll keep the mystery. We'll see if this passes tomorrow. And Felipe says, I always preferred having all the stubs inside the NPM release. Yeah, okay. So did I, but I wanted to try the GitHub releases because it seemed like more correct. But bunch of issues came up because of this, so now we are going to go with the simpler approach. And okay, so that is it. Thank you all for watching, for subscribing to my channel, for supporting me on PayPal and Patreon. Thank you, Felipe, for your lovely comments as always, and for being here with me. I see you tomorrow when we will actually ship this, and that will be version 2.1. That will be awesome. All right, see you tomorrow. Bye.